Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth, the truth. You have to go back to the roots, Go to the roots, Yeah, man, you know, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, you know, no matter how them try to run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
Subscribe now.
I remember the days, all those years ago that never fade away. And I remember your face when you hit the ground. I can recall the time and place on a midnight walk through the old streets, trying to turn back the clock to the days of old, back to the days when all the things we knew were made of gold. As the world moves on, time sings a song. In the old neighborhood, as the clock strikes one, the memory lives just as it stood, like a quiet dream. The shadows of that time are cast beneath.
All right, ladies. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Africanist Report. Give me a second here. Thank you for joining me. Please make sure you hit the like as you're coming in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me again on the Africanist Report here today on the evening show or whatever time zone you are in. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be talking about what's happening in the Sahel. But before we get into that, man, this show, you know, I have been determined to make sure that, you know, I do this show today. Like, I'm super tired. In fact, earlier today, for example, like I have been up since like 4 in the morning, right? So took care of some businesses whatsoever, and then, you know, earlier I went grocery shopping, so I was in the parking lot, you know, so I was like, let me take a short nap. So like I know like I'm super tired, but I was like, no, it's Friday night, and I did promise you guys that we're gonna have a show like yesterday, but something came up, so I was like, no, I can't skip tonight. So, you know, I'm gonna make sure I stay alert and engage with everyone here. Thank you for joining me. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know, if you remember, we've talked about what was happening in the Sahel. You know, this is Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. I mean, like Mauritania is considered the Sahel. But if you look at what I'm going to be talking about is the jihadists. So these jihadists, I mean, they are Islamists, basically. Let's just talk about that. If you guys remember Muammar Gaddafi, right? Many people that are Pan-Africanists remember it. So Muammar Gaddafi was toppled, you know, by Obama and the West, if you guys could remember this. And this happened publicly, publicly, they humiliated him. If you guys remember this, he got sodomized. So even that connection is weird because Obama, there's a conspiracy theory out there alluding that Obama is of the sodomized, whatever. It's out there, right? So the way Gaddafi was killed, was that a ritual to show their power, to show that the people who are in power. So I'm gonna touch on that. We look at Ivory Coast, a stable West African country, the second largest economy. I mean, they are doing good. But I notice in the French sector, because in West Africa, I get it. There are people who, for example, they like to pretend. They would talk about, like Mali Empire, Ghana Empire. They start pretending, saying, oh, Africans did not have borders, blah, blah, blah. It was the white man that brought it. This is not true. In fact, in 1884, because you have to remember, the Europeans have been trading with the Africans on the West Coast, from the Gambia region all the way to the Congo. But at this time, they never made it in the interior. Remember this. So today, the history that people try to push, this is not real history. The real history is, you have to remember, at one point, the Africans, we were doing everything on our own. We didn't come in contact with anyone. Who do you think was feeding Africans, like they are doing today? Where were Africans importing rice from? You should ask yourself this. Where were the doctors? We had kings, chiefs, we had nobility. So when people get sick, who was treating them? Have you ever asked yourself this question? But yeah, either way, the Europeans came, they were trading up until about 1884 because the Europeans were fighting each other about these territories. So they decided, look, let's just come together and slice this place, for ourselves. So the Europeans did not even know about the interior of Africa. Think about this. At this time, all the trade was happening on the coast. Forget all the lie, all that story that people are telling you, oh, the Europeans came kidnapping the Africans. That's that victimhood narrative. That's that lie. This is not a fact. The Africans were not weak people on the West Coast. Go and read. Even our griots talk about this. Okay? So you have to remember, think about it. How can strangers come and overcome millions of Africans, West Africans for that matter? It was trade. But I get it. I get it. Most of you can't stomach it because today people are quote unquote educated, westernized. So some of these cultural practices are considered savagery, uncouth, uncivilized in the system that we, all of you that are watching me, and yeah, of course, like dehumanizing people or feeling like you're better than other people. Absolutely, that's just not right. But that was the system. People own humans, slavery, I wasn't there. You weren't there. You don't need to be offended. But one thing I know to be true, which you and I exist in, is the 1884 partition, demarcation of Africa. These are the nations you and I exist in. We can pretend otherwise, but the moment you carry a passport tying you to a geographical location, you're acknowledging the 1884 partition of Africa. You have no choice. We have no choice. This is what we inherited. But we have to figure out a way how to make it work. Because you see, sometimes you have to remember, the devil can even hand you a gift. But now it's up to you what you do with that gift. Do you see it as a gift or as a curse? You got to ask yourself that. So with this 1884, because think about it, did you know the place they call Congo today? Congo, within that territory, because when you hear about the Bakongo people, the country you hear Congo, that's not the only Congo. So these countries they call Angola, all of that, that's all Congo people. This is what people don't realize. But in that Congo, the place that is called Congo, there were up to 10,000 little kingdoms within that. Think about that. So when these Europeans got on the table, they didn't know the interior. They just drew lines. They're like, hey, Germany, this is yours. England, this is yours. They just drew those lines. So those lines divided people who were together. But now, for example, with West Africa, let's just be real, right? West Africa nations, quote unquote, were colonized, like, let's say, about 60 years. 60 years. Because when Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana got their independence in 1958. So 1884. So most places were not even fully considered a colony up until 1900 or 1901. And the first, African nation started, like Ghana got their independence in 1958. So do the math. You see what I'm saying here? So it wasn't that long. So that means, if you think about it, these colonial rules, who is making sure they stay? Who is making sure the lines that were drawn, people abide by it? In West Africa, how many of you can tell me you've seen white people doing this? You have not. I say this to say, I'm saying it ahead of time for people to know. I don't want to hear about, in ancient Africa, like you weren't there. I was in there. I didn't live in 1800. I didn't live in 1960. I live now, what we inherited. So we're going to speak on that. So now we have enough, we have enough examples to be able to live off of too. Because after what they call independence, we also how they played Kwame Nkrumah, right? Kwame Nkrumah had greater dreams. And you must know this, Kwame Nkrumah, I would say, in the system that we live in, he is one of the greatest African that's ever lived. Because he was the first West African that boldly challenged the white man within the white man's own system and defeated them. Did you know Kwame Nkrumah defeated the English without taking up arms to them? And I know, I get it. Some people are going to come and start pretending and start hating on him. They will start creating yardsticks. Like, who are you? Like, what did you do? Who did you free? Who did you confront? So your opinion doesn't matter. I go by what is real, which is Kwame Nkrumah challenged the colonialists. How many people have done that? He did that. So that's the system we inherited. Then we came down to coups. Kwame Nkrumah himself was removed by coup. Ghana have had sequences of coup. So Jerry Rawlings, they started getting, improving. There's some good and bad to it. But those earlier coups, those people were trained directly by the colonialists. So, for example, in the Congo, King Leopold II, you guys have heard of him, right? So King Leopold, he owned the Congo. He was, so usually like these colonies, like let's say the Gambia is owned, at the time was owned by the UK. That's what is called colonialism. Senegal is owned by France. So a country. But the Congo, imagine this. The Congo is bigger than Texas. So King Leopold from Belgium is a tiny little country in Europe. Zero influence. But King Leopold, they handed Congo to him. And by the way, he's never even stepped foot in the Congo. So what he was doing, he enslaved the people in the Congo. They were harvesting rubber. So when they first invented the pneumatic tube, meaning the bicycle, like the tube, so they needed rubber. And guess what? Congo had vast numbers of rubber trees. So King Leopold owned the Congo. So they have what they call force de public. So they would go and invade villages. They would kidnap their women and children and they would hold their children at ransom and force the men to go into the forest to harvest this rubber sap. Do you know how that was worse than any slavery? And there was a genocide that was committed in Congo. They don't talk about it. King Leopold alone, do you know how many Congolese he killed? They talk about 6 million Jews. We're talking 10 to 15 million Congolese. He literally almost depopulated the place. So that was what was going on. I say this to say, we, the people, now, we have that information. It's like hindsight 2020. You're able to reach back. I'm not talking about the people that live in the fantasy, where not only do you reach back to learn, to be able to recognize certain things, some people try to live in it. That's not going to work. So these military coups I'm about to talk about, these are not new. We all know this. So it started even like in Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser. He was the first one that pulled the coup in Egypt. Did you guys know this? He was friends with Kwame Nkrumah. They were Pan-Africanists. But the first coup took place in Egypt. I'm talking about in this system, the 1884 system. That's what we are in. I get it. Some people might come and start talking about, oh, my tribe doesn't recognize it. What passport do you carry? Does your passport say your tribe or the nation, the territory? That's what we go by. That's what is recognized internationally. So that's the context I'm speaking within. So your tribe conversation, save that with your tribal members. Here we're talking about wider nation, realistic stuff. Okay. So we move, you look at like Nigeria. There were many, many coups there. In fact, Nigeria was much stronger when those soldiers were in charge. You know, today, all this criminality that people are crying about, Nigerians are committing, that wasn't an issue. Those military people put them in check. This is why Nigerians, when they hear about military coup, they get scared, because those military people put them in check. Abuja, you know, if you hear about Sani Abacha, they told you Sani Abacha was the most evil man in the world. There's good and evil. But Abuja that people brag about, he built it. I'm not here to pass judgment. I'm just speaking on what happened, what's in front of us. And I get it. Some people be in their feelings and be like, oh, Africanus, I can't believe you are saying, you know, Sani Abacha is a saint. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm speaking on his work. Because I hear many people saying, judging these leaders by their work, right? So we move from Nigeria, and then now we come to the French sector, the French colonialism. People used to say, oh, these French countries, they're domesticated, they are docile. People always say this, but I don't know why. Like Congo is French, but like it's Belgium. I'm talking about West Africa, for example. They had Thomas Sankara, but they took him out quick. So it looks like the French, they are making sure that nobody would rise against them, you know, in Black Africa. Like Senegal, it looks like they complied, right? Burkina Faso seems to be a problem. Mali seems to be a problem. And now Niger. So these coups happen. But prior to this, we go to Libya. What was happening in Libya? After they removed Gaddafi, now all of a sudden, they have jihadist wars. You know how they used to talk about the Middle East? Let's say, back in the days, when you hear wars in West Africa, it is like rebellion. Let's say Sierra Leone, Liberia. It is like people from that country fighting each other over resources, political. But this jihadist thing, Islamist, is a whole different ballgame. Look, I know West Africans, or like where I'm from in Gambia, majority are Muslim. I'm talking the upper 90s. But I don't think I know any of them who are willing to take up arms to go fight you over the religion. I haven't seen it. I'm not saying they don't exist, but I haven't seen it. So isn't it crazy how after they toppled Gaddafi, because remember when they needed to steal the oil in the Middle East, all of a sudden these same jihadists existed out of the blue. Out of the blue. Do you know the president of Syria, the current president of Syria, was on the most wanted list, on the FBI most wanted list? I think they had like 10 million bounty on him. But now he became the president, they accepted him, and it's all good. So you have to see the game here. People are over here talking about black power, blah, blah. That's not what it's about. It's about what you can get done. You have to look at the game, how it's played. If you want to act all tough, you're going to lose. So for the longest, people thought, the French sector, they were weak. But let's go to Ivory Coast, second largest economy in West Africa. They're doing good, but their president, Ouattara, who, because their constitution says, you can't go beyond 3 terms, but he wants to go for number 4. And the excuse he's giving is like, he gave the speech. He said, sometimes you can make promises, but your duty supersedes the promises. So Macky Sall in Senegal did the same thing. Like there was uprising there. People died. But Ouattara, do you guys know what Ouattara is doing? So since their constitution is not, he's not supposed to run for 4th term, but it is clear that he is a French puppet. There's no doubt about it. He's not working for the people of Ivory Coast. So the biggest mistake they made was introducing the Western education. So people like Ouattara is like 83 years old. He grew up during colonial era. So he was educated in it. So they looked at they wanted to be like their colonial masters. You see? So that's the thought process. So now, after them, you got like the military coups, you have the Sani Abachas. So now we're talking the true Africans, where people are thinking for themselves. More and more Africans are waking up. They have woken up. They have studied the system. And they are like, no, man, dude, like, you can play us like you played our grandfathers and our parents. That's what Ouattara is trying to do. So, like, what he was trying to, he's like, I'm going to run for the 4th time. But Laurent Gbagbo, the former president, the guy that they removed forcefully, his wife, was going to run, but she was in a big threat. So Ouattara's opponent, Cham, which Cham have a Senegalese last name, all of a sudden started collaborating with Gbagbo's wife, and then Ouattara just banned both of them. So now it's obvious this man is clinging onto power. The same thing happened in Guinea-Conakry with Alpha Conde, and we all saw how that ended. So what did he do? So now Gbagbo is like, look, man, we can just let this fly. He's now formed a coalition with Cham. So Gbagbo now banned both of them. Can you believe this? So it looks like He is making the law, to fit just himself. And in Ivory Coast, I support the people of Ivory Coast. Great economy, great country. And how can one individual kill the dreams and aspirations of millions of people? So now the people are like, nah, man, we're not going to put up with this. So they rose up. But before I show you all that, President Trump met with Vladimir Putin. So I want to share that with you guys. Since they are the, biggest military and biggest economies, and you will see the role they play in the topic that we are in. But let me show you. They met in Alaska today. I want to give you that footage. Here we go.
So we understand they're about to get off this plane, Brett.
Yeah, and this is a moment. It is a real moment, and there you see President of the United States first deplaning Air Force One. Let's just take a moment and listen. You can hear all the plane sound, but see and listen to this moment.
So that's Trump and Vladimir Putin meeting in Alaska for peace talks. All right. Now you've seen that, Trump met with Vladimir Putin to talk about peace in Ukraine. So let's get back to the topic here. So I want to show you what's going on in Ivory Coast. So the people, they rose up against Ouattara, and it's not looking good for Ouattara. Let me tell you why. Because when your own military is protecting the people, standing up with the people, that's not a good sign. And now there's rumors about possibly getting, ousted by coup. Because the people in Ivory Coast are doing what the people in Cameroon should be doing. Can you guys imagine their president, Paul Biya? Paul Biya is a king. He's been there for 42 years. And now Paul Biya is like 92 years old. So he said he's running again. And Paul Biya, if I show you some of the people who are supposedly going to challenge him, there's like a couple of toothless guys. Guys, I'm not making this up. Some toothless guys. And Paul Biya at 92, he said he's running. And he said the same thing that Ouattara is saying. So this is like a script. And they are repeating the same thing. And in this day and age that we live in, everything is out in the open on the internet. What is the excuse for these people in Cameroon not doing what the people in Ivory Coast are doing? Have you guys ever thought about that? Instead of people just talking all that fake Pan-Africanism, people should be telling these people the truth. Because when you look at it, Ivory Coast, for example, when you people be like, oh man, these Ivorian people, they don't look like they're about the business. They just, all about partying, dressing nice. But you know what I've noticed? The Ivorians, they mind their own business. When it's time to take care of business, they'll do it. So I think Ouattara is going to be removed. Let me show you the crowd here in Ivory Coast. Let's go to Ivory Coast. Okay, here we go.
Nous réclamons une révision de la liste électorale. Nous réclamons une réinsertion des leaders politiques sur la liste électorale. Nous réclamons une réforme de la CEI. Nous réclamons une RLE en 2025. C'est tous ces griefs-là que le pouvoir suite auquel le pouvoir ne réagit pas. Donc nous sommes sortis pour demander au pouvoir de reconsidérer sa position.
La seule chose qu'on demande, on ne veut pas 4 mandats. C'est ce qu'on veut. On ne veut pas 4 mandats et qu'on révise la liste électorale. C'est ce qu'on demande. Et qu'on mette les noms de tous les candidats et qu'on va aux élections pour la paix. C'est ce qu'on veut.
All right. So you're seeing that. You're seeing it. That's what's happening. That's what's happening in the Ivory Coast, because their president is trying to ignore the constitution. So let's go to Bloomberg here. Let me give you the story behind why those people are out there protesting against their president. So when you hear people saying, oh, these Africans are fleeing, they're not doing stuff. No, the people that left, they just want to leave. For example, like someone like me, I did not flee, you see. So there was no tension whatsoever. I'm just one of those people. I'm an explorer, adventurer. So that's just what it is. I like coming. I came to the place where the real competition is. So here I am. But there are people back home there who are putting in the work. So here we go. Let me show you what's going on in Ivory Coast. Oh, sorry.
Jen, just get us up to speed. Give us some context behind the latest round of civil unrest in Ivory Coast.
Right, Jumana, we have been watching quite closely at the Ivory Coast because they do have elections later this year. And what's really come to a head over the past few days is we did hear from President Alassane Ouattara suggesting or telling the public that he does plan to seek a 4th term. Now, under Ivorian law, presidents are technically only supposed to be in office for 2 terms. And so you can imagine.
So do you guys hear this? Only for 2 terms. So this guy, I think he's about to go for number 4. Let's hear it.
Why there is now tension. But it's not just that. We've also seen a number of those who had wanted to at least run for office, including former Credit Suisse executive Tidjane Thiam, actually being barred from the.
There goes Nana Akufo. That's his best friend.
The voter roll. And so many voters within the Ivory Coast and investors alike are watching this country and wondering what this all means for stability in this economy that is the 2nd biggest economy in West Africa. It's been an example of stability within the region. It's the 2nd biggest cocoa, or it's the biggest cocoa producer in the world. And really what this means for tensions moving into the election. It also evokes a bit of concern for people who have seen previous elections that have become or turned a bit violent in the past. People don't want to see a repeat of that. So you were just showing in the intro there the Independence Day celebrations yesterday. Some of the opposition groups, including Tijan Tiam's party, had planned initially to have a protest earlier this week to express their opinion and their frustration with being barred from the voter roll. The government actually banned them from this protest. But this weekend, we are expecting some of these political parties to come out and continue to express their frustration in what they see as an unfair situation leading up to the election later in the year.
Yeah. You mentioned the relative stability of the Ivory Coast economy and the fact that it is the world's largest cocoa exporter, which, by the way, leads us nicely to our next segment that's coming up. But how could all of this political backdrop impact the country economically?
It's very much a concern. I mean, if you take a look at some of the stats from the World Bank, which we did, it has been the fastest growing economy across the African continent. If you just take a look at the growth rate over the past 10 or so years, we've seen the economy growing at an average of 8.2%. That is significant if you compare.
Are you guys hearing that? So people that come and say, oh, what's in Africa? Well, pay attention. Cocoa is something.
Compare it to some of the other economies across the continent. And of course, there's cocoa prices. Right now, we're taking a look at some of the cocoa farming. We've seen prices really fluctuate over the past few months and years. This is expected to be a relatively stable and potentially a beneficial season for cocoa growers. But if we do see instability, what does that then mean for this country that has for years relied on this export? And not just that, many people are wondering, what does this mean for investment? As I mentioned many times, I was in the Ivory Coast earlier this year. There is quite a bit of development going on. There's been a lot of investment that has gone into this country. So many people are wondering, could this potentially concern people about putting investment into the country?
Well, you've seen and heard that. That's what's going on in Ivory Coast. Their president, Alassane Ouattara, that's what he's up to. He doesn't want to give up power for whatever reason. He wants to cling on to it. So we've been hearing about a lot of problems in West Africa, but there's long history about the issues in West Africa. Like I gave you, like a little short notebook from like Kwame Nkrumah's life to where we are today. But I got a little video clip. It's like a short little documentary before I introduce you to what is happening in Mali, because it all ties into it. I came across this documentary. I was like, man, this right here would explain all of it, because you have so many people who just bring their own ideas, and we want to know the origins, where these jihadists are coming from. Because if you look at these countries, it's not like, okay, let's say now all of a sudden the Middle East, they don't have the jihadists. Now they are in West Africa. You will be surprised at how large of a territory these people are trying to control in West Africa. So are the French behind this? Are the West behind all this? Are the jihadists the foot soldiers of the French? Because you see, it's easier to, when you destabilize a place, you control it. So I have a documentary here. We can watch it together. Here we go.
The world is currently most affected by terrorism? Would you know the answer? It's here in West Africa's Sahel region. This is the epicenter of the world's terrorism, And Burkina Faso is the most affected country in the world. And this terrorist violence is becoming even deadlier.
So think about it, the question she asked. So few years ago, they would tell you all like the jihadists, the Islamists, that's like a Middle East thing. So now all of a sudden, the moment they toppled Gaddafi, now we're seeing the jihadists fight the war again. So this is a French tactic, but a lot of West Africans, especially, or Africans, like especially Muslim Africans, they are in denial. They won't accept that they have been brainwashed. This is not the first time that the French use Africans like Muslims to conquer Africa. Most of their territories, most of you have heard of Sheikh Omar Fouti or Sheikh Omar Ta. His story, go look at it. He was a jihadist, like Usman Dan Fodio, all those people. So the jihadists, to them, they think they are trying to, control their own territory, but they are cleaning up for the French, just like Sir Omar Ta. He was doing the work for the French, but he didn't know it. He was the one, in the name of Islam, he was massacring all those Africans because he said they are infidels, they are kafirs. He believed he was waging a war against them. So once he got rid of those people, reduced the power, and then he was the final piece. And guess who got rid of him? The French. You can read this. It happens every single time. Every single time. Because I know they can do it in this century again. Because you know what? The people who have this ideology are not reading these books because they revere these people. They revere these jihadists. In fact, they look forward to this. So they have their agenda, but the French have their agenda as well. So it is safe to say somebody is sponsoring it. So I'll let you guys watch the documentary and you guys can decide. I'm not going to tell you, but you guys can put 2 and 2 together and see, ask yourself, who is sponsoring these people?
So what's going on? To explain, we need to talk about military takeovers, geopolitical maneuvering, massacres,
violent extremist organizations that are encroaching upon the continent. It is a threat. It is a threat to our homeland, and it's a threat for our overall national security.
Remember, that's Langley. I mean, something is fishy here. It's like they went to Iraq. They said, they have jihadists there. It's a threat to the homeland. Now, all of a sudden, it's in Africa. So these wars are being exported. Let's just call it what it is. But you notice how they're using skin color. They're sending Langley to go represent. So this is why all this Pan-African stuff, like Africans should not trust FBA because FBAs can be used as weapons against Africans, you see, because they are serving Massa. Don't ever forget this. They are more loyal to Massa than to you. Look at Langley. And, hey, I'm not faulting Langley because, hey, Langley is doing his job. He don't owe this place anything. But I'm just saying it so you that have ties to it, get that reality through your head. Like, yeah, they can be black power where they're fake dashikis, pro-black. But at the end of the day, you just an African to them. All right? Don't forget that. Because, you know, they can just say they're Indian or something. You see? They're like, man, those dirty foot Africans, man, let's help Massa steal their gold. But I digress. Let's get back to the show.
Mines, guns, and a terrorist group hiding in a national park.
You know, the jihadists found really almost everything that they need.
West Africa has a tumultuous past. France had a vast colonial empire here, along with other European powers, until the 1960s, when countries gained independence. Despite developing in some areas, West Africa has been plagued with the same issues as much of the rest of Africa: corruption, instability, military coups, and war.
So you see, that's Liberia. I remember yesterday we talked about, people were like, oh, what was it like in Liberia? This is footage from Liberia. What, you know, the way it was.
I believe Liberians are tired of war, tired of conflict, tired of strife.
In the last decade, instability in the Sahel has escalated. Mali's government was overthrown by the military in 2012. In nearby Libya, the US-backed intervention succeeded in toppling the country's authoritarian leader, Colonel Gaddafi, in 2011. But left a power vacuum with clashes between rival militias breaking out.
They're pulling out. The place here, hey, the place is not safe. That's snipers.
You see, when FBA tell people, why are you fleeing? Now you're seeing what's happening in these regions. So thank me for showing you what's going on over there.
After the state collapsed, there was an outflow of weapons and fighters into the Sahel, fueling armed conflicts there.
So did you guys catch that? So after this war that you just saw in Libya, when they got rid of Gaddafi, they said all that weapon flowed into the Sahel. So I thought they said it was the Libyan people toppling Gaddafi. Why is this weapon being flown, shipped into the Sahel? That tells you there is a puppet master. There is somebody sponsoring these wars right in front of our eyes, taking one territory after the other with, their foot soldiers. These are the foot soldiers. For all we know, these people can even be saying, it's like this is this is their military force, right? But they are dressed up as, some desert tribes, because this is literally military. They destroyed Libya. You just seen it with your own eyes. So they are like, yeah, we got that. So it's like a chess move, chess game. You knock one piece at a time. So on the map, they knocked off Libya. And then now they are moving south of Libya. So while a lot of these quote-unquote Pan-Africanists or educated intellectuals, you're busy talking about 1865, what happened at the time. It's happening right now, right in front of your face. Right this minute, you are seeing it. I mean, like 100 years from now, if the people read about what happened in Libya, it would sound to them just like when we read about, what happened 100 years ago. You can't believe it. Oh, even right this minute, you're seeing it. They took Libya off. Now they moved towards West Africa. They are expanding. So who is behind this? This is what we should be asking. Because we saw this flag around Iraq, in the Middle East, and we saw it in Libya, and now they popped up they're in Somalia as well. So is this the way to steal African resources? And are African people being kicked out of the land too by destabilizing it? This is something to think about. Because think about it, they come, they destroy the place, they make it easy. Whatever place they destroy, they make it easy for the people of that country to migrate and leave that country. Who is behind it? People are not asking these questions. But let's watch this.
And that unsettling of the political order and the spread of insecurity created a climate of uncertainty that drew individuals, entire communities, to side with armed groups so that they could protect themselves. And this struggle for survival in a very uncertain moment helped jihadists to recruit massively among the local population.
And in this environment, extremism has flourished.
It is only getting worse. That violence has created the condition for other forms of violence to also emerge. So we have communal conflict, criminality, banditry, kidnapping for ransoms, for example. Insecurity has always spread, making people's life extremely difficult.
There have been more military coups in recent years in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. All three are now led by military rulers. Terrorism in the region has surged over the last couple of decades. In Burkina Faso, there have been nearly 7,000 deaths from terrorism since 2007. Almost half of the attacks in 2024 were claimed by a group called Jamaat Nasr al-Islam wal Muslimin, JNM, which aligned itself with Al-Qaeda and was formed from 4 pre-existing groups.
It is the largest and deadliest jihadist organization.
So guys, are you catching something? At this point, it's obvious. Come on, guys. This is very obvious at this point. First, they said Al-Qaeda they were in the Middle East, they were in Afghanistan, and then now they were in Libya, and now Africa. Like, who is Al-Qaeda? Who is? Come on. So if we go look at what Bin Laden's footage is, what was he fighting for? It turned out he was a CIA agent. So it is clear, like, somebody is behind it. Because why is Langley, for example, they said, oh, the US doesn't colonize, but why is Langley speaking on what is going on in the Sahel and tying the US's security to it? It's pretty wild, huh? Well, I'll let you put 2 and 2 together.
Organization in the region.
Islamic State is also a major security concern in the region. These jihadists have been expanding their operation, partly to recruit and find revenue, and partly because of pushback from the military. At the heart of their expansion is the sprawling network of national parks. This is the single biggest protected area in West Africa. It's so big, it crosses into 3 countries, Benin, Burkina Faso, and Niger. This is the WAC complex, but as well as being a sanctuary for nature, it's also become a hideout for terrorists. This part of it is called Park W. Since 2018, jihadist groups have made inroads, and JNM has now made it a base for themselves. Why? Because if they're looking to expand, and this
are you guys seeing this? So all of a sudden they got jihadist group, JNM, so now vast territory across, different regions, saying these people exist there. Like, how did this who were the people living there? So clearly this is staged, right? Just like Boko Haram. So let's continue.
is the perfect place to do it from. The forests here mean camps are hidden from military planes and drones. The terrain is more suited to their motorbikes than military armored vehicles. There's also ready-made infrastructure they can take as their own, like watchtowers and water points.
They have exploited natural parks in other.
So let me translate. They are telling you, so these watchtowers, who built them? They're telling you all the stuff they've put there for them. Isn't it obvious now? It's like they're literally like gaslighting Africans, like these nations, like there's an open war being waged, military war to take over. So now all of a sudden, like these Al-Qaeda people popped up, they have trucks, they have motorbikes. I mean, come on, people. There's watchtowers. So you mean to tell me, okay, this is just some tribes in the desert, for example. They were there this whole time. They never knew how to build, watchtowers. They didn't have motorbikes, trucks, and guns. But now all of a sudden they have it. I mean, guys, come on. Okay, let's hear more. They're telling us what, they're helping us know what is going on. See, when you watch these documentaries, they are pretty much just telling you, hey, the message is they are sending it to certain people to let you know, hey, this is what we're doing over there. It's only the Africans that don't know that, there's a war that's been waged openly to take the territory and the resources. But all right.
Areas. So this is really a broader trend where we see them using these wooden areas and forests.
From here, they can recruit new fighters and plan attacks in several directions.
Women and children are the ones primarily affected, especially by displacement. Jihadi groups, they also impose their own sort of social order, regulating behavior of local communities and setting certain rules for how they should behave.
Je viens de localité vers Djundju. Vous voyez là-bas, vraiment la situation est très inquiétante à ce moment. Il y a des villages où vraiment ça ne va pas. Donc, pour aller acheter des moutons là-bas, même amener, c'est...
In one incident, 54 Beninese soldiers stationed at the border in Park W were killed, the worst known attack in years.
So when you hear about like what's going on, when they say the Sahel, you never think about Benin. But this is affecting Benin as well. So these people, they literally are waging their war in like the center where they can draw in, pretty much so many West African countries and conquer them at the same time. And people don't understand, like, when this is all about resources. So some would be like, oh, we don't see white boots on the ground, they didn't come take over. No, you don't have to see that. Think about it. These same Al-Qaeda people that you seen, remember in Iraq, you saw them there. In Syria, if you've been keeping up with the news for many years, you've been seeing this same flag. In fact, I'm going to go pull up footages and do shows on this. You've been seeing this black flag with that white Arabic thing on it. So now you're seeing the same people. So if it's truly a people, what is their aim? How come they are not confined to just one geographical location? So now they're telling us that they have watchtowers. They've built watchtowers there. Who built these watchtowers? This is what I want to know. Can you believe this? So you mean you're telling me, so those village people, they came together, they put their money together and went out, hired like a plane, shipped out some cement and, concrete, and they got watchtowers. Is this what you guys are telling us? But all right, let's continue.
This location has other strategic advantages. It allows the group to make money from cattle theft and profit from smuggling routes that carry fuel, drugs, guns, and people to other countries.
They have pushed hard in this area by taking control or achieving a significant degree of influence in this area, started to act as gatekeepers for access to natural resources by local communities.
And gold is another big moneymaker. Sahel countries are some of the largest gold producers in Africa. A huge chunk of it comes from small-scale informal mines, which armed groups fight to control and profit from. Billions of dollars worth of gold from these mines are smuggled out of Africa every year, the majority being exported to the UAE. Expansion means more territory, more gold mines.
Did you guys catch that? So, you know, mostly people, you would only think Western countries. Like, you might think US, France. No. Did you catch that? UAE, Dubai. So you see these rich Arab countries, the gold, where do you think they get it from? Have you ever thought about that? So I'll let you guys hear more. So it's not like it's the Western countries. These rich Arab countries, the gold, this is where they're getting it from.
And more money. This area here where three countries meet is particularly at risk because of the trade and smuggling routes it offers. Just a quick pause to say, if you want to watch more videos like this one, like our mapped episode, all about tensions in the Arctic, make sure to subscribe to the Sky News YouTube channel.
The littoral states of coastal West Africa plays a quite significant role in the determinant of
regimes as well.
Le moral de la troupe au beau fixe, cela va continuer, Inch'Allah.
That's where Russia comes in.
Сегодня нас объединяет общая цель борьбы с терроризмом и экстремизмом. Будем и далее помогать республике в восстановлении законности и конституционного порядка, оказывать содействие в подавлении радикальных группировок, остающихся в отдельных районах Буркина-Фасо.
Russia has embraced and supported the military dictatorships.
Придаем большое значение развитию отношений с Буркина-Фасо. Нами, в частности, принято решение о возобновлении деятельности российского посольства, закрытого еще в 1992 году.
The Russian mercenary group Wagner were already operating in neighboring Mali when Niger's military takeover happened, but they've now withdrawn and handed over to Africa Corps. This is a paramilitary force backed by Russia's Ministry of Defense. It was created after Wagner founder Yevgeny Prigozhin led a failed mutiny against the Russian military. This move indicates the Kremlin wants to be more directly involved with its military presence in Africa. It has facilities all around here and uses this to promise security to its partners in the Sahel.
Je tiens à vous retirer ma haute appréciation de la fiabilité du partenariat militaire avec votre pays qui a permis au Mali de recouvrer progressivement sa pleine souveraineté sur l'ensemble de son territoire, mais également à nos forces de défense et de sécurité d'opérer en toute autonomie et en toute liberté d'action.
That's the president of Mali. The one that they tried to topple. We'll talk about him before I open the line. Here we go.
And in return, Russia gets to expand its presence and exploit the region's resources where it can.
Есть хорошие направления для перспективного сотрудничества. Это геологоразведка, освоение природных ресурсов, это энергетика, это логистика, ну и гуманитарные направления, которые я только что сказал.
For example, Mali has huge reserves of gold, lithium, and uranium, which Russia wants access to. Natural resources can help fund its war in Ukraine.
So, do you hear that? Which is true. We've all heard about the tale of Mansa Musa, how rich he was in gold. Do you guys think all that gold all of a sudden disappeared? It's still there. Plenty. It just keeps, you know, the ground keeps producing. So Mali has plenty. Mali, Burkina Faso, that area, they have plenty of gold.
Get around sanctions. Basically, this is a mutually beneficial relationship. Russia sees an opportunity to expand its influence at the expense of the West. Sahelian countries get military help without having to worry about Western-style democracy. The Sahel is an important piece of Russia's wider Africa network. Its presence in Libya gives it a gateway to its other interests in Sudan, Chad, and Central African countries. But Russia's security operations in the region have done little to fight extremism.
Russia have not been able to fill the vacuum left behind by France, US, but also the UN peacekeeping mission MINUSMA. And The armed groups, they have really exploited this vacuum and they continue to expand.
Made it the home of its first overseas military base here in Djibouti in 2017.
Before we begin, I would like to remind those in the audience that this hearing is open to the public.
Despite its exodus from Niger, the United States military is still active on the continent.
Chair reserves the right.
General Langley, there's a lot of.
So you see how the U.S. is involved as well. So I skipped to that.
Concerning aspects of Africa, but West Africa right now seems to be the most concerning. I mean, it seems that the most capable terrorist organization is, gaining influence in multiple countries and threatening others. We don't have much of a presence there. What would be your recommendation in terms of how we contain that threat that is growing out of West Africa?
Since we moved out of Niger, we had to reset our CT strategy. And that's further engagement, especially with the coastal West Africa countries who are building capabilities and capacities to deter. And a number of countries is working, but
that's Langley, the FBA representative, by the way.
JNM and also ISIS Sahel are really starting to get their footing.
While Central Sahel countries have turned their backs on Western nations, their neighbors are still working with the U.S. to try and contain the insurgents. Flintock is an annual military training operation led by the U.S. In 2025, 500 participants from over 30 countries trained in countering violent threats in the land, sea, and air. And African Lion 25, the U.S. African Command's largest annual military exercise in Africa, included more than 10,000 participants from more than 20 nations.
There's a lot of anger on your continent, and we've been able to solve a lot of it.
But the Trump administration is rolling back its footprint on the continent, cutting aid and development programs.
My administration is committed to strengthening our friendships in Africa through economic development efforts that benefit both the United States and our partners. And we're shifting from AID to trade. We had AID, or aid as we sometimes call it, right to trade. And trade seems to be a foundation that.
That's fair. Trump said, no aid, let's do trade. So it's about empowering Africans. So here we go.
I've been able to settle a lot of these disputes, like as an example, India and Pakistan.
In the White House, it seems it's all about America first.
We encourage the countries here today to make greater investments in defense, hopefully, of course, buying our equipment.
She said it like that's a bad thing. If it's not America first, what should it be? Another country first? I suspect she might be woke.
Best military equipment anywhere in the world by far. There's nobody close. And keep pursuing the fight against terrorism, which is a big problem in Africa.
Many people in these affected countries are not waiting for foreign nations to help them. For example, some self-defense groups have been established in Burkina Faso.
Local communities not only face violence from jihad.
So you heard that, like, people in Burkina Faso are not waiting for no help. They've created their own, militia to combat this on their own.
Groups, but also state forces and various militias. It's described as local communities find themselves between a rock and a hard place. I think that we will see continued escalation, but also a worsening situation, especially as these groups are conducting these violent campaigns with the objective to provoke the fall of the current regimes, especially in Burkina Faso and Mali. And how the aftermath, if that would happen, would look like, it's really hard to say. But I anticipate that it would be a very difficult period for the civilian populations in the region.
The situation in the Sahel and West Africa is not a simple one. It's a combination of chaotic governance, ethnic tensions, ecological degradation, poverty, and geopolitical competition. All factors that have helped embolden violent terrorists. And these nature reserves are helping them operate, their beauty hiding a sinister underbelly.
Right, you guys seen and heard that, right? So I'm giving you a little background history of what is going on. This is like current, by the way. So now in Mali, because if you look at what is happening right now, this is an invasion. So these people are standing up to the invasion that is happening. So it makes sense why there's been attempts on the current military rulers of Burkina Faso and Mali. So the latest attempted coup on the president of Mali, he arrested 40 generals. Anyways, I'll show you the last clip, then I'll open up the line so you guys can give your 2 cents on what you think. But that's what's going on. It's pretty much a revolution. So give me a minute. Okay, let's go to Mali and see what is happening in Mali. Here we go.
Has carried out arrests to quash an alleged plot to overthrow the government within the army's ranks. But the circumstances of the detentions remain unexplained. The West African nation's junta, which itself came to power in back-to-back coups in 2020 and 2021, has made 55 arrests, mainly among the National Guard and the military branch. The military-backed government has yet to officially comment on the crackdown, which comes as the army is locked in fighting with jihadists and separatists. Here is our cover report. Dozens of soldiers have been arrested in Mali, accused of plotting to topple the country's military.
So yeah, this is in Mali. The president, Assimi Goïta, one of the leaders of the AES. So generally, like when these coups happen, and I know the people that are against coups, they would say, you see, this is why we are against coups, because, when you come to power through coup, people are always trying to, remove you. Yes, this is true. So that is a fact. So that kills the idea of all this kumbaya. Oh, we all Africans. But when it comes to power, these people, when it comes to power and trying to protect the majority, they're not gonna just play with it. They're not gonna just pretend like you're not trying to take their life. So here we go.
To leaders. The wave of arrests, which reportedly went on overnight and are expected to continue, reflect increased tensions within the military government, with reports that a jihadist insurgency in the north is gaining ground. The detained soldiers are allegedly planning to overthrow.
Man, why do these Pan-Africans like to talk about 200 years ago, 300 years ago, when the most interesting things are happening right now in our lifetime, within our own lifetime? But they're talking about things that's already happened. This is already happening. But that just came to my mind, and I was like, why are these people focused on what already happened?
For the government, citing multiple sources within the military and junta-backed transitional council. There had been about 50 arrests, while a security source said there were at least 20 arrests linked to attempts to destabilize the institutions. The arrests have reportedly been going on over a number of days now. They come amid political tension heightened by the junta's crackdown on former Prime Ministers Musa Mara and Choguel Maiga of accusations of harming the reputation of the state and embezzlement. Mara, a recent outspoken critic of the military government, has been in detention since 1st of August, while Maiga is facing judicial sanctions. In May, the junta dissolved all political parties following rare anti-government protests, which Mara described as a severe blow to reconciliation efforts initiated by the military leaders last year.
Article 1. Political parties and organizations of a political nature shall be dissolved throughout the national territory. However, persons holding office in the political and administrative institutions of the state, by virtue of a designation by a political party or an organization of a political nature, may continue to carry out their duties without being able to claim to be representatives of political parties or organizations of a political nature.
So you've seen it. Mali's president is not letting people just walk right in. So guys, the link is in the chat. Join me, as this news clip is ending, we can get right into the conversation. I want to hear, especially you, Zongo, because Zongo, you've always been against the coups. You've said things like this is what would happen. So I want to hear your point of view. And also, why is ECOWAS trying to force them in? Zongo said AES are more Pan-African in terms of their political and economic ideologies than ECOWAS. Well, Zongo, call in. I want to hear more about that. Bang, I see you in the back. Just hang tight.
Young representatives of Malian opposition parties, fearing their dissolution by the ruling junta, met in Bamako and called for respect for democracy. They raised their voices despite a crackdown on dissent and a shrinking civic space. The military announced the repeal of a charter which sets out the creation and function of political parties in what legal experts said could be another move towards scrapping them entirely.
Our initiative is not against the authority.
So the people that always ask, oh, what does the coups look like? What does the atmosphere look like? Well, it's right here. I'm presenting it to you. And I know some people will be like, oh, it's doctored. I have been in these atmospheres. It's pretty accurate, trust me. I've witnessed it in 2 different countries.
It is not against anyone. It is for a cause, which is democracy and political pluralism.
The disease has not been fully declared, but we will nevertheless monitor the symptoms closely and take the best possible measures to maintain peace in Mali and preserve what little stability we have left. Because it must be said that a country facing so many difficulties does not need to create more, especially among young people.
The junta leader, General Assimi Goita, who seized power through 2 coups in 2020 and 2021, had promised elections last year, but these have never been held. In July, the transition period was extended.
Do you guys think this guy is going for the second coming of Mansa Musa? He's been in 2 coups, gave power away before, and now he's like, man, I'm just gonna, take it. And now they want to challenge him. I mean, even the way he walks is telling me, man, he's trying to be the second coming of Mansa Musa. But here we go.
By 5 years, clearing him to continue leading the country until at least 2030. Mali has been fighting an Islamist insurgency since 2012. One of the reasons given for the military takeover, but attacks by jihadist groups have continued and even increased. Alongside its neighbors Niger and Burkina Faso, it has enlisted the help of Russian allies to contain the jihadist attacks in the region after breaking ties with France. But there has been no significant improvements in security. Africa Bureau, we on. Wild is one.
All right. Interesting. All right, Bang. Welcome to the Afridamus Report. Bang, what do you want to say?
How you doing?
I'm doing well. What about you?
I'm doing okay, man. Man, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You're a Sonika, right?
Right.
This guy, what's his name? Assimi Goita.
Yeah.
Is he a Sonika?
Sounds like a Soninke last name. Yeah.
Okay. Because of man, once I have a son.
Or maybe Bambara.
Yeah, Bambara. Okay, with the Bambara, are they similar with the Soninke?
They are more similar to Malinke.
Oh, Malinke. Oh,
okay. I mean, there's same. Yeah.
Oh, same. Okay, because when I have a son, I'm gonna give him that name.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love that guy, man. I've been following AES for 2 years.
So I want to hear your point of view. So Bang, you've seen me show the clips. Let's start with Ivory Coast with Alassane Ouattara. Do you think Alassane Ouattara should, he has a point. He is trying to serve, to continue, his duties, to make Ivory Coast greater than what it is? Do you think his haters just want him? They are the ones out there protesting for no reason. I want to hear your point of view.
No, his people are not just out there protesting for no reason. There's a reason why his people protested. Because if you look at Africans crossing the sea, trying to go to Europe and all that, you see a bunch of Ivory Coast, over there trying to, look for better life and stuff like that. So if he's been in power for that long, how come Ivorian are going in overseas trying to, see for a better life, crossing the sea, some of them die and stuff like that. So all he's doing, he's just protecting his asset for his kids, because he's 80 years old. Once you're an 80-year-old man, like there's nothing else you want in life, basically. So he's trying to protect his gatekeepers, so then they can continue the same, structure. That's all. That's all it is. Because he knows the world has weakened.
So from, we can look at, like, you remember Alpha Conde in Guinea Conakry?
Not really. I'm not.
Well, Alpha Conde did the same thing. He ignored the constitution. Same thing. The people protested. He didn't care. He's the guy that Doumbouya removed, the current
The
president.
current president.
Yeah. So this is the same as it's coup. It's a constitutional coup. But so Ben, what do you think about the question I was asking? Who do you think is behind what is happening in the Sahel? Because we've seen Al Qaeda, they topple, Muammar Gaddafi, and now we're seeing the same group,
The same exact thing. The same
exact.
exact gameplay.
So what do you think? Who do you think is behind this?
It's Western governments. Western governments.
When you say Western, who?
Well, the Western government would be the G7. The G7. You already know the head of it. Then you have the.
But didn't you? But what about hearing that UAE? A lot of the gold from
UAE are behind
is
it.
going over there.
UAE are still behind of it, but in like the West Africa, you gotta understand it's still under control by the Westerners. So then if you try to like replace these people, the only way you can replace these people is by the contract, the mining contract. These people not gonna just allow you just to come in and then just cancel these mining contract because their wealth comes from these mining contracts. So if you come in as a president, you want to cancel the previous order. You know what I'm trying to say? They're gonna say hell no. So then they're gonna use their so-called terrorists to like overthrow you, or they pay somebody from the inside to put you to sleep.
I mean, bang, think about it. Like, how come like all of a sudden, like, because remember they were saying, man, the terrorists were, in the Middle East, Islamists. Now, like they came to Libya, but now all of a sudden West Africa, like
exactly.
Like, come on, man. Like bang, they even now these terrorists even have watchtowers. They built it.
I saw it too. And then I
Man,
left.
huh?
But
Can you believe that?
But the news, the Sky News, right? Which is a British owned. These are the same British people that I was telling you about the war in Ukraine, saying that Russia was losing it.
Yeah, but you have to remember this: the media, right? They do two things. They tell you, these people, they are telling you what they are doing, but they pretending like they are reporting news. And then in the other way around, they are trying to distort information against the enemy to make it seem like they are losing.
Okay.
But in this case with Africa, right there, they're trying to convince people that, hey, ever since Libya, somehow Gaddafi, his people rose up against him, because you have to look at the pattern.
Oh yeah.
You have to look at the pattern. So they're like, oh, ever since, because they told us it was his people against him. Isn't that what the story?
Oh yeah. They totally lied.
All right. So now they toppled him. Now all of a sudden the weapons are transferred and the military is transferred to the Sahel. So what's that all about? So that reporting, you just have to look at it. You got to forget about who's doing it. Just look at the pattern. What has been reported here? What are you receiving from this info?
The thing is this, right? Is to make sure these countries stay destabilized.
Right.
So these countries stay destabilized, they will always need you.
Right.
It's like, oh, you always need us. You always need us. You always need us. So it's like the tool that they use to act like they're innocent, but they're the actual ones using these people. And then at the same time, they come publicly and say, oh, you see, there's so-and-so going on out here. So you need us to come and save you guys. Just like how France was in all these countries for years. Nothing got done. Nothing got done for years.
So bang, you said you like Assimi Goïta, right?
Oh yeah. Oh
okay,
yes.
He did a coup, he came, but bang, don't you? So the people that try to remove him, do you think they are justified in their actions, considering Assimi Goïta, he's been there now, he hasn't, called for referendum or elections.
F that.
Hold on. So he lived by the gun. So these other people, want to remove him through the same way he came in. Are they wrong for trying to remove him?
No, from their ideology, they're not wrong. From their mindset, they're not
Are
wrong.
they goons? Are they tap dancers?
Okay, I put it this way, right? I would
Are
never.
they? Hold on. Are they?
I can do some shuffling too. Look out, man, what you gonna do? Look out, boys, it's coming through. Yeah, man, yeah, man. Boy,
So are they wrong? Are they wrong? Because think about it. Goita came through a coup. So there's no elections. So if these other people also have their own ideology, can the pro-black Africans come out and be like, oh man, they were sent by the white man? What, is it possible these people have their own ideology? What do you think?
They not wrong from their own view.
Okay.
But the end of the day is look at the country, the condition of the country, where the country been and how it was caused that way. And then look at how it's been for the last two to 3 years now, the improvement. So it goes back to ideology. That's why I said you cannot 100% agree with every Africans. It's impossible. You cannot. It's fake. It's fake. So the game is to separate yourself from certain Africans and then align yourself with people that think like you so that you can overpower them. So what Assimi Goïta is doing, that he's overpowering the typical Africans that was under France, that was benefits. So all he's doing, that he keep overpowering them. So at times goes on now, there's no way they could touch him.
So do you think, what type of message, like the people that's always trying to challenge him, do you think this finally solidify his power? Because it's 40 generals.
I mean, in a way it does, but it will never stop. Because let me tell you why. Even if you fix these African countries like America, Europe, you always gonna have some type of sellouts.
Wait, but how are they sellouts? They have their own ideology.
No. Okay, their own ideology of how the country should be run, basically.
Right.
So it goes back to my ideology will always overpower you. That's why I said there must be separation.
But you call them sellouts. Why though?
Okay, the reason why I would say a sellout, right? Because just like I just mentioned, right? If you look at the condition of the country, of Mali and all these other countries, right? Typical West African countries, it's not a country that you should be proud of because of the lack of developments. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Yeah, but Goïta found it that way.
That's what I'm trying to say. He found it that way, but then he's doing something about it to change it. These guys, they want to keep it like that.
But these other guys are like, hey, I got better idea,
It's the same idea that's been going on before he got there. If Goïta should never got there, these guys would never pull up a gun and said, oh, I'm going to, take over this country. No.
Right.
He only tried to take over because of Assimi Goïta has a different ideology than them. You understand?
Bang, before I go to St. James, I want to ask you this. So, Bang, are you look at Ivory Coast, for example? They out there, letting their author know you gotta go. I mean, Bang, have you ever wondered why is it like Cameroonians?
Oh my God!
Do you think Cameroonians
Let
are
me tell you a
weak?
story, right?
like what's the problem, Bang?
Let me tell you a story, right? I'm a Fula, basically, right? So it was this lady, right? She's from Cameroon. So her issue, right? She got two issues, right? She hate Paul Biya, right? She said it publicly. Man, I was talking to her one day on social media, right? She hate Paul Biya, right? But then her fear is, she said, I heard her mouth, if Paul Biya stepped down, the Fulanese would take over Cameroon. She doesn't want the Fulanese to take over Cameroon. I'm like, what are you trying to say? She said, because of all the Fulanese are conquerors. They just go around and conquer people. I'm like, but you don't have a problem with Paul Biya that been in power for 40 years. 42. But she fears the Fulanese to take over the country. I'm like, make it make sense. So like Cameroons, it was another Cameroon. The guy told me out of his own mouth. He said, man, he was like, man, we Cameroon, man, we scared. We scared, man. We don't want to do nothing against Paul Biya. True story.
What are they scared of?
He said it out of his own mouth. He said, man, We are scared. We don't want to do nothing against this guy. This guy's been in power for what, 40 years?
42.
42 years. He said it out of his own mouth. He said, man, look, man, we just scared. And then you have the other people that's scared of because of the Fulanese. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Wow.
They just scared.
That's crazy. Let's go to St. James. St. James, welcome to the Afridamus Report.
Hi, Afridamus. Thank you for having me tonight.
Yes, yes. St. James, you've seen the footages. Let's start with Ouattara in Ivory Coast. So, do you think the people in Ivory Coast are making a mistake trying to remove a great leader like Ouattara?
To be honest with you, Afridamus, I don't think they are making a mistake because based on their constitution, the term limit. They have a term limit in there.
But why? What's with the French areas? Macky Sall did the same thing. Alpha Conde. I'm seeing a pattern. Do you think this, the command is coming from Paris?
Absolutely, Afridamus. Within the Francophone African, we always have these kind of discussions because some of them don't believe a constitutional crisis is still a coup. They just
it is a coup.
It is a coup, but I don't believe that. They always believe when a soldier take powers, it's what's called a coup. But when you're talking about constitutional crisis, they kind of turned their back on that. Even ECOWAS, right? Even if you look at ECOWAS doesn't say much about Ivory Coast, doesn't say much about Togo, doesn't Senegal, when that was happening. And they tend to focus on the military. But well, I mean, because it's a club, Afridamus. It's a club. When you pay your dues and you do whatever Massa tells you to do, you are embarrassed. If you come in and invite it like Assimi Goita, Traore, and Chiani, then you becomes a problem. It's like the mafia, right? You can't join the mafia without taking steps.
So, St. James, you being from Burkina Faso,
yeah,
and seeing what is going on in Ivory Coast, because remember Macky Sall also was there. He did the same thing, and you being from Burkina Faso, like seeing these people trying to do constitutional coup, but then they pointing their fingers at Burkina Faso, the AES, telling you guys that they're gonna bring you guys back.
Right.
How do you interpret that?
Let me give you two examples. Right, I was talking to a brother who got very emotional with me last week. Right, I give you an example. Check this. This hypocrisy in Senegal. Right, every time there is an election in Senegal, it's always a lot of people get killed. You agree, right?
So constitutional crisis.
Absolutely. And the last time they had an election.
Why does this keep repeating? Like they know, like it's almost like clockwork. Do you think the French threaten these people? Because
absolutely
they keep repeating it. Like
absolutely, they kept doing it. So in their country, they have last time I checked was over 50 people got killed, and somebody was telling me it was close to 100, right? And in Burkina Faso, when Traore took power, no one got killed. But they say we are the problem. Senegal is not a problem. We are the problem, right? So in Ivory Coast in 2011,
because they're saying they got democracy,
right? Before when Ouattara was, get into power, 3,000 Ivorian got killed. But they are not the problem. Burkina is the problem. So that's the hypocrisy that we have on the Francophone side, right? And no one seems to listen because when you are the devil, they point out to you as the devil. So all you got to do is defend yourself because no one will. ECOWAS is not something we will need to join in because they're already shown their colors, and we know we can do better without these people, man. It's done. It's a done deal. We can't go back.
So what do you think about the coup attempt in
Mali?
In Mali.
Okay, I thought you were going to show the French guy that got arrested too. Is within the group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to bring that footage.
Yeah, because he's a ringleader. They are showing him as the ringleader. So French cannot deny it. How he got to that country, Mali, you know, being
28
part of the
years in the army.
DGSC. So we got the credential, we got everything. So that's what we've been saying. These people are trying to destabilize us, but no one is listening.
So
you know?
directly, so speak on that, like the jihadists. Now we are seeing the Al Qaeda flags being flown in that territory, and I didn't know like Benin, their territory was this fully involved, and they losing.
Oh yeah.
People. Why aren't they joining you guys in the full fight?
You see, when that lady was pointing out to the Park W,
yeah,
that Park W take us from Benin to Burkina Faso. That's that park. That's the area where the battle is taking place in the Benin area. So we don't have control over the park because we were even having a dispute with Benin about who should control the park. And Benin is.
Do you think Benin is a proxy?
Absolutely. Traore said that during one of his speeches, and he got us into trouble, and we fixed that. Traore said, you know what? You got the French troop in the Park W, so we can't work with you. You see, that's the problem.
Wait, the French, the French are there?
Yes.
So the French are the terrorists then?
Absolutely, they are there. That's why Ibrahim Traore was telling them. Well, even Chiani, you remember when Chiani was telling everybody that we can't work with Benin because they posted French troop in that park?
Yeah. And also the watchtowers, and I know like it sounds funny, but so obviously the French are they didn't leave.
Afadamas, man, you kick these people out of through the door, they come through the window. They can't leave. They will manage to come back through the window, wherever they can, wherever. You see that French guy that got arrested, everybody should know by now. What are you doing there? We don't have a relationship with French like that. Why are you there? So you should know by now. That's trying to destabilize the AES, man. All means necessary, man. You know? So I don't know. It's
let's go to Kwame and we'll come back to Kwame. Are you there? Kwame Ma'at, unmute yourself. Kwame, are you there?
He's probably chilling.
Yeah. Okay. So like St. James, if you look at as far as what they are saying, how like the deal that you guys signed with Russia, because in the past we had some of these quote unquote pro-blacks who was saying, oh, you move from one master to another. But obviously, this clip shows that it's mutual benefit. But another thing, like the goal going to the UAE, majority, they're getting billions out of that area. What is the involvement of the UAE in do you think they have something to do with the Islamists too?
Absolutely, they do, because they're the one who sponsor these extremists. They sponsor them, but they're doing a certain way for you not to, become suspicious. Because if you go to them and you say you want to spread Islam and you want to spread the message, they will fund you. But at the same time, they know these people are extremists. But if you go to them, they will tell you, we don't care about that. We don't know these people, but we know they want to spread the message of Allah. So that's why we fund them. So you fund them to disrupt people, to move, to displace villages, so they can create more wealth for you guys. But the international community doesn't see that. They see it that way.
So did you see General Langley?
Lang?
Oh man.
So Sengen, what do you think about the pro-black? I got a nickname
for him.
What happened?
Go ahead. So General Langley said they want to protect the homeland because of what's going on.
Alpha you pointed out, right? Every 10 years, these jihadists change locations, right? So don't you think we need to investigate that? 10 years ago, it was in Afghanistan. After that, it was in Iraq. Bro, we gotta investigate that. Who's moving them like from places to places? Like, it's funny, right?
Yeah.
Our African on the continent can link up with Al Qaeda. Can you imagine? You know how different.
Like, I saw footage,
Yeah.
a video. I'm gonna bring it here.
Right,
There were
right.
like some Nigerians caught in Mali. They said they were part of the terrorist group.
Oh well, you Afrodamas, we've been getting all kind of people, man. We get AES is getting all kind of people. You know, when we take prisoners, it's across the world.
So AES, do you guys consider like how
Yeah.
like it was, ECOWAS? Do you think ECOWAS is doing the bidding? Whose bidding do you think ECOWAS is doing? West Africa or
Africa?
Because they,
Yeah.
they said you gotta come back as a brotherhood. So
There is no
do you
Afrodamas.
guys
There
do,
is
do,
not
do, do you guys trust the African
Afrodamas.
hospitality?
I am sorry, but that brotherhood talk doesn't work for us. It will never work for us again. And I want Africans to understand that we are brothers. We need to see actions first. The word means nothing, to someone who has their back against the wall. We've been through that for years, and everybody's been telling us we are brothers. But when it comes time to actions, it says otherwise. So we're gonna believe in ourselves and fight this battle and win it, and then we'll see what happens tomorrow. The brotherly love doesn't exist on the continent, West Africa especially. Nah, it does not. So to help with ECOWAS talk, we don't need that. So I'm being honest with you, man. They gotta
Oh, and
protect
then
themselves before they begin thinking about protecting us.
and then, yeah, I forgot to ask you this. Do you think the Cameroonians would ever have the backbone like the Ivorians to stand up to Paul Biya? I mean, the guy's like 92, but
I'm seeing a few people individually trying to come together for that, but Cameroon, I'm not sure. Maybe we need to ask a few Cameroonian. Maybe if we have someone to chat. And I mean, I don't. After that, I'm lost about Cameroon. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I believe this was supposed to be the year for them to make an important decision about taking care of the presidency in terms of having this guy step down for good. I thought that was this year, but
yeah,
if it doesn't happen, it will never happen.
yeah. But do you think? What do you think the outcome? What do you foresee
I don't think Cameroonian.
in Cameroon and like Ivory Coast especially? Do you think Ouattara will prevail, or he's gonna end up like?
After Damas, there is a meeting that they have a rally tomorrow where the former president is going to take the stand, and from that, a lot of people are expecting a lot. After Damas is not gonna go well this time in Ivory Coast. Trust me.
Do you think he would be removed by coup or?
I'm not sure if he'll get removed, but it's not going to be peaceful in Ivory Coast. No matter the outcome, it's not going to be peaceful because the way you see the crowd last week,
Yeah.
okay, they put him on notice already. So tomorrow is going to be another rally just to show him that they don't want him. So if he's still, try not to listen to the people, something's going to happen. And I'm being honest with you. It's not going to go well for him. I know the Ivorian, they are fed up and they want a regime change. Anything beside Ouattara would work for them. So he better listen to the people because he doesn't have the backing of Burkina Faso. He doesn't have the backing of Mali. Niger is not listening. And Togo doesn't have that kind of power to go toe to toes with the Ivorian. I'm telling you. So he's back. He's trying to woo Guinea, but Guinea is a little distant to them. So Ouattara is in trouble. He's in trouble. Trust me, he's in trouble. So he better.
This house of cards is falling apart.
It's falling apart. And the Ivorian, I give it up to the Ivorian because they were patient. He ran 3 times. you know, and I've already let him do it, you know. So I think the fourth time he has to be wise enough to understand his time is over, so he can move on. But if he doesn't, I'm telling you, I have a lot of Ivorians that I talked to, and they told me he has to do that through the dead body. I'm telling you, and they're honest about it. They don't want it. They don't want it.
So like the coup attempt in Mali, do you think the way the president Assimi Goïta handled it, this is to send a message to solidify his power?
Afterdamus is very sad. Even though some of these general, right? You know who elevated them? Goïta himself.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's sad to watch. The people that you elevated, the people that you fought with, some of them are trying to take you out. It's bad, man. I mean,
what do you think their motivation is?
Well, I mean, with that French guy involved in, it's greed. It's greed. It's nothing like the military got what they want now. You know, in Mali, in AES, I don't see like they were not equipped back then. Now they're equipped. The pay is correct. You know, their mental health, everything. The population is with them. So what else do you want as a soldier, as a military? What do you want? So you want to take power because you have a better program for the people? Like, it's not the time, bro. So if you want to go for a coup, like you said before, okay, anybody can go for a coup, but the repercussion, you should understand the repercussion. It's the military rule. So when you get caught doing that, what's going to happen after Damas? If they really wanted to take it there, what's going to happen?
Well, court martial
And then
execution.
Absolutely. So they I don't think Assimi Goïta is gonna take it there, but these people should understand this that's the outcome if the thing fell. That's what it is. So I don't they're gonna take them to court anyway. But I'm sad, man. I was watching the news and some of these people were elevated by Goïta himself. A couple of guys that I saw, they were elevated general by Goïta himself. So why? So within the military, they always say they discuss things. If things are not going the right way, we discuss things, and we vote. They vote amongst themselves. That's what happened in Burkina Faso. Traoré doesn't make the decision himself. He has his team. They decide within the group, and they go forward with it. So it's not a one-man show like some Westerners trying to pretend it is a junta led by a dictator. No, it's not that. So the idea of trying to take out one man because you guys are not getting your point across is maddening. And knowing that if that thing fell, they can kill you.
Yeah.
So I have no regret. I have no compassion for these people because Afadamas, Africans, we have to be able to handle our traitors without any remorse. We have to be able to do that because the enemy is from within.
Right.
Like, just let's not even discuss the outside world first. Everything is from within. You know, we can't keep trying to fix our country and we have traitors trying to destabilize us. We can't let that happen. But Assimi Goïta, okay, based on this position, if you try to do that, people will be like, oh yeah, you came through a coup yourself and they didn't kill you. Oh, well, his coup was successful.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, if you're successful, you get to make the rules.
Absolutely. So the ruler rules. That's what it is. So if you don't agree with it, so well, you either do the same or you. But I don't think it's gonna be. It's hard for the people in the AES to follow the rule because I'm happy with that. You know.
Do you think this would shake him up?
Nah, man. After that, these are soldiers, man. They know what comes with the job.
Yeah.
So they're ready for that. They stand ready like 24/7. It comes with the job. Your friends are gonna betray you. Family members are gonna do it too. So it comes with the job. You know, you roll with the punches, and if you don't get caught, somebody else will get caught. So that's what it is.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
There's an African, right, that I know of. He has never come to your show, but every time like Dinus goes live, every time what's his name? Kyle what's that guy name, man? Always goes live. He comes on and spend about 6 to 10 hours on his show. But how come he never come to your show?
Who?
His name is Elvis.
Oh, he's been here before.
Yeah, because I'm shocked. I'm like,
it's been well, he's been here a while ago, but I haven't seen him since. He's welcome. So
yeah, I'm like, man, because anytime other people have shows, especially his favorite dad, because I call him an African refugee.
Who do you call that?
Elvis. I call him an African refugee. For a reason. I have a reason. That's why. Yeah, that's why. Because he always
Elvis was here, but he got dismissed.
He got dismissed.
No, he did not graduate.
I wonder why. That's a shame.
He got dismissed. Huh?
He got an F, man. He took the class and he failed, and
he's a shameless African.
Now we put him on remedial classes, and he decided not to come back.
Right.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, he couldn't pass.
That's a shameless African.
No, but bang, I'm very, I want to listen to you, and you being a Fuller, man. It's kind of it's an interesting conversation, man. Because you being from the Fuller and you speak highly of the AA, man. I'm very proud of that, because you are showing that it has nothing to do with a specific ethnic group, because you're first an African, and you see through the bowl that people are trying to sell in West Africa. I really appreciate that, honestly.
Man, you got to, because at the end of the day, like me, right? I've never suffered my whole life. My family has always had, good things for me, and then they already had good things for me. So yes, you understand. But the truth, you got to see it. We can't, we not poor in Africa. Like, we can't stay like this forever. Let's be honest with ourselves. If you have a good leaders like these men, we should come out honestly and then support them. But don't try to act like the previous people, they were doing good for us. That's why some of us end up here. Like me, soon I'll be 30 years in this country. My parents brought me here at a very early age. So I don't want to be here in my 80s. No, I really don't. I don't want to be here in my 60s either. I'm serious about it. I don't. Other people could die in this country, but to me, my people, we cannot die in overseas. We have to, when you die, you have to bury you in your village. So all my fathers, all my family members on my father's side, every single one of them are buried in the village. So I don't want to be that person. And then it's just the truth, man. Like, if you love Africa, just say it. If you don't love Africa, just come out publicly and say it. I love Africa. I'm serious, man. My son, I'm going to name him Asini. I don't care what nobody says. I love that guy, man.
Nice. But guys, let's do our closings.
Are we closing, bro?
I have not eaten dinner yet.
I'm warming up and you closing, bro.
Yeah, it's like I'm super tired. Yeah.
Okay. You a Rasta man?
What's that?
Are you a Rasta?
A Rasta man?
Yeah.
Do I practice the Rasta religion?
Yeah.
No.
Because a lot of Gambians, man, they love reggae music.
Oh yeah, they love the reggae.
They love it, man.
But not
us too, Sierra Leone.
Yeah. But they're not Rastas.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But you get that vibe, but when I see you, you look like one of those people.
Oh. Yeah. But guys, thanks for coming. I want us to keep going, but I gotta eat, bro. And
that's what's up, man. All right, thanks for having us, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, guys.
Man.
All right. Guys, thank you for coming through. I wish I can stay longer, but like I told you in the beginning, like I've been up, for hours and hours. Like I'm super tired and I'm hungry as well. But I'll definitely see you guys on the next one. I'll make sure I come fully energized. Yeah. But please make sure you like and feel free to leave your comments. I want to hear what you guys have to say. All right, see you. Bye.
Lend thy ears to the Afridamers. Pay attention to the Afridamers. The true Saninke warrior. Naturalist his intelligence. As a true professor. Solution to brainwash diseases. Sit back, relax, and hear the wisdom. Afridamers will heal your minds. Sit back, reflect, you'll find no objection. Afridamers will clear your doubts here. Always log on to the Afridamers. Lend thy ears to the Afridamers. Is the truth and no doubt the Saninke warrior.